Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Saigo. I am going to give you a quick introduction to the Module 2 content. So I just, like last time, have a few slides to give you just an overview and point you in the right direction to do the assignments and discussion this week. So let me share this screen. All right. Get that out of the way. Okay. I think you can see it now. So this week is Module 2, and we are talking about culture and community and sustainability and systems thinking. So I wanted to give you a few definitions to help you get off on the right foot. So first of all, let's talk about what is a system. You might have learned about other systems before you got to this course, like solar systems, um, systems of the body, the digestive system, respiratory system, nervous system. So generally, we're talking about things that are separate that are part of one whole that work together, although they might not always work well together, as parts of something bigger, something, a mechanism or an interconnecting network made up of lots of parts. So we might zoom in sometimes to look at one piece of a system, or sometimes it helps to zoom out and see what the whole overview of the whole system is. Also, systems are not usually discrete or separate from each other. So you might look at the body systems and say, well, respiratory system is completely separate from digestive system, but really they do affect each other quite a bit, right? What would happen to your body if you removed one whole system? You would find very quickly that they need each other. They're very connected, even though you might not be able to see how they're connected because they're inside your body, or sometimes the connections might be very small and you can't see them with the naked eye. So if we think about that idea for systems that are related to sustainability, like the three perspectives we're talking about, economics, the environment, ecology, and society, they might seem separate, but once you start to look at them and how they connect with each other, you see that really they can't fully be separated. So we have to address sustainability by looking at all the different parts of it, because solving just one part wouldn't solve the whole thing. So that's what we're thinking about a system. What's a community? A community is a group of people, in this context, a group of people who have something in common. They might be part of a community because they're just in the same place, like a neighborhood. They might share culture, like the community around a church, or they might share common interests, like the community around a hobby or a club or an activity or a team. Or there might be a community unified by a purpose. So they might not be anywhere near each other, but they may work together across geography because they have a common interest or something that they want to do that's a common goal. So let's look at what is culture. Culture has to do with beliefs, traditions, values of a group of people. Again, religion could be a culture. Family traditions can be a culture, things like that. And then what is systems thinking? Well, if we put all those things together, what is a system, a community, a culture? Then in the context of sustainability and what we're talking about this week, it's being able to understand how something is made of parts, but that whole system might in turn be part of something bigger. So systems can be nested, they can be connected or linked, they can be beside each other, but systems are made up of smaller parts, and a whole system might be a part of something bigger. So I was trying to think of a fun example of how things are connected, sometimes in ways that you might not be able to see. And it reminded me of this silly idea of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So you might be familiar with this, but in case you're not, it's the idea that any actor can be connected to the actor Kevin Bacon through 6 roles or fewer. So I was thinking, well, what's somebody that I might not have seen directly in a role in a movie with Kevin Bacon? I thought, well, Zoe Saldana. I haven't, they can't think of anything that she was in with Kevin Bacon, but if you actually go to the website, there's a website. Oh, I closed it. I think it's called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. And you can type in the name of an actor and then it will tell you the links to Kevin Bacon. So Zoe was in The Terminal with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was in Apollo 13 with Kevin Bacon. So although Zoe and Kevin weren't in a movie together yet, they are connected in fewer than 6 degrees. So Zoe to Tom to Kevin. I guess that's two technically. So yeah, so there are connections, even though you might not see them at first. That might be a silly example, but you see what I mean. So, what are some of the benefits of understanding how things are connected? So, or systems thinking. First, solving problems in isolation can often create new problems. We might call these unintended consequences. So, you might think, well, here's an example. When I was a kid, it was a long time ago, grocery stores only had paper bags. And we thought, that was normal. Then the first environmental issue that I remember hearing about as a young person was concern about deforestation. So grocery stores switched to plastic bags because we thought that was saving the trees. So then plastic bags became more readily available at grocery stores. That's where that classic question, paper or plastic, comes from. You had a choice at your grocery store checkout. Did you want paper bag or did you want a plastic bag? And then eventually paper bags sort of went away and everything became plastic bags. And that was thought, oh, we were saving the trees. Well, now we know that we might have solved, some measure of deforestation by perhaps cutting down fewer trees to make grocery bags. But as we all know now, switching to all plastic grocery bags created new problems that we didn't anticipate at the time. So, unintended consequences. If we could have seen all of the information, including the future, we might not have made that decision to switch from paper to plastic. And now we're switching back to paper or thicker plastic or reusable. I hope that those don't end up having new unintended consequences, but who can tell? I guess we'll just try to make the best decisions we have with the information we have right now and see what happens. Number two, seeing the big picture helps develop solutions that work. So if we go back to the paper or plastic, if we had had the whole picture, we might have chosen a different solution to um, having to cut down trees for paper bags. Maybe there would have been something better. Number three, systems are everywhere and we are part of them. So whether those are ecosystems, the planetary system, we're all part of the planet and the systems that happen on the planet, from weather and ocean currents and societies and businesses and everything that happens on the planet. We're connected because we're all here together. Number four, culture. We had talked about the definition of culture being things like traditions and values that people might share. Culture plays a huge role in sustainability, depending on what a particular culture prioritizes. And different cultures have different priorities. The culture of a business in a capitalist society or system might have very different priorities from an indigenous agriculture based culture. So those might have different priorities that influence the way that those groups of people approach sustainability decisions. Number five, organizations affect sustainability. Kind of relates to what I was saying for number four. So, what do they focus on? What do they think is their reason for existing? Profit, long term balance, if it's a business, it might be more profit oriented. If it's a nonprofit that focuses on, ecological protection or responsible mining, those might have different priorities. But get all of these different organizations around the world prioritizing different things, there might likely be some conflicts. And then number six, the big picture, again, seeing the big picture and understanding that things are connected can help us find solutions that will benefit the whole system. So for module 2, these are your deliverables. These are things that you need to do and turn in. So there's a discussion post due Thursday by midnight, and the topic this week is culture and community connections. And I am looking at the instructions for that on my other screen. You're going to identify a social or cultural community that you are connected with. So make it personal. It doesn't have to be, I mean, not personal like intimate details, but think of something that affects your life. It's going to be different for everyone, probably. So share something, introduce us to a culture and community that you're part of. Um, and you can think outside of the box too. It doesn't have to be like, um, see if you can surprise me. I'm not even going to give any unusual suggestions because I kind of want to see if you come up with some that I haven't heard before. Um, and then read and respond to at least 2 classmates by Sunday at midnight. Read the instructions to make sure that you're covering all of the questions required for that. Um, Continue the conversation. Remember, don't just say, hey, good post, but try to add something more, ask a question, offer some of your own insights, address the questions in the prompts, and see if we can learn from each other and, understand what other people's communities are like. I like doing that. Then finally, there's a short paper due this week, Sunday by midnight, and the topic this week is how technology affects your life. So you can choose something like a device. Maybe it's your phone. Maybe it's an app that you use the most, or it doesn't even have to be something that you use all the time, but some kind of technology, a streaming service where you tend to go to search for information. So it could be a search engine, um, an app, something you use for work or school, or something that you use to have fun with, your gaming console, something like that. And then you're going to read the guidelines and rubric and answer the questions about how that technology um, influences what you do, how it might influence or discourage you from doing something, and then how it affects your connections. So go read the instructions and address all those questions and turn that in by Sunday at midnight. So I'm trying to leave you with one big thing each week. And so this week's one big thing I think is, all right, try this thought out. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. And by understanding the systems around us, we can make choices that create positive ripple effects for the planet and for future generations. So what I hope you'll take away is that you might not know how you're related. Like she wasn't in a movie with him, but if you follow a couple of links, I really think that we have a lot of things in common. So just keep that in your back of your head. Everything's connected. We're all here together. And by understanding the systems around us, including the things that we're part of lots of systems. We can make choices that create positive effects for people around us and for future. So that's all for this week's intro. As always, call, text, email me if you need help. I am here for you. And I hope you have a fantastic week. And you can do this. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.